Okay, we're on. All right, so we have Brian. Brian, what's your last name?
Taylor.
Brian Taylor from E67 Agency. Um, why don't you tell us a little bit about E67 before we go into the local SEO discussion?
Awesome, awesome. E67 Agency is a SEO provider designed to help small and mid-sized businesses in the local footprint. We have clients that range from the local footprint to even national with projects like e-commerce and affiliates and things of that sort. So, simply put, we help people get found online. We specialize in SEO. We can do services that will help folks with website design, website build, website transformation to a responsive platform if they need that type of help. Sometimes they just need help with some structural elements on their site with siloing and things of that sort. So again, we like to think of ourselves as a full service provider catering to the needs of our local businesses.
Right on. And you guys do also national SEO and probably some other things like social media marketing, PPC, I assume.
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. So yeah, today we're going to talk about local SEO and some things that agencies or individuals or pretty much anyone can focus on. And I'm just going to start bringing up some points, and you can elaborate or basically give your opinion on the things I'm going to bring up. And of course, you can bring things up too. And the first thing I want to talk about is PPC or search engine marketing. And one of the things that I've been noticing lately is that for local SEO, it's starting to play a huge factor in how your business is being found. I mean, it always was a factor, but now there's certain things like location extensions where you can start showing up in the maps, and I presume that's going to start actually showing a rank in the map without needing to click on the actual more locations. I think that'll happen soon. Another thing is that the ads from the right side of the bar have gone away, and they added a fourth ad. So now you kind of have to do a lot of scrolling past the PPC in order to get to the map and then get to the organic. So you might not even be found your first organic position till the eighth. What are your thoughts on this?
I think you hit on some key points. First of all, we did notice in 2016, Google changed the footprint of the landmark of their pay-per-click product, which opens up the amount of space or real estate it takes up on a screen. So when you do a normal Google search, you'll notice there's more ads that show up at the top, no longer on the right-hand rail. The end result, it pushes down the organic or the map session, which is one way, obviously, a very smart strategy on Google's part, because it drives more people to their paid product. Obviously, they're in this to make money. However, they have not compromised their natural representation. Those are the maps and those links you see underneath it. They've continued to do a very good job with making sure that there's a very high integrity of the content that we find there. So I guess we have to settle for what we call a happy blend, if you would.
Mm-hmm. And then also the fact that they changed the ads from yellow to green. I mean, that's definitely bringing the trust factor to the ads, in my opinion. People are, I think, starting to see that Google's PPC ads are starting to become a little bit higher quality as people are starting to play more by the rules, so they can increase their quality score for their ads by creating more relevant pages where people aren't bouncing off and they have high click-throughs. And I think as we move forward, and there's going to be virtually four PPC ads for almost any query. People are going to really start to trust them more, I think.
Yeah, I think that plays a good part, because in the past that has been an issue, the trust factor, and that's why those paid ads has been very, very instrumental on what they call commercial intent. When people are ready to buy, I think more people have come to the realization those are ads. People are trying to sell me something. So when they're in the buying stage of their cycle, they have a high trust level. One of the things that Google has gone a great length in is creating it as a normal or typical go-to place. And I think over across the board, they've done a very good job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. All right. So what do you think about the different factors that weigh into local SEO these days? I mean, citations are huge. Name, address, phone number, plus website consistency, and having those top local indexing platforms show up with your profiles on it is pretty important. But I mean, of course, link juice being sent to your website by other high authority websites, social media marketing, all of those play into it. But what do you see work really well these days?
Well, that's a very good question, Chase. And I actually want to combine that to the previous topic on PPC because for the longest, Google has always shared the thought or the idea that the pay-per-click ads does not influence the organic. And through multiple case studies, I find that the PPC ads does have a subsidiary effect on the SEO methods. Generally, what I've come to find out or come to conclude from that is that Google looks at the traffic that you get. Some of the things you mentioned is having good citations. That means basically your business information, your name, your address, and your phone number, also known as NAP information, showing up across the internet on third-party sites show credibility in the local space. So Google looks at that, and as well as having your site linked and connected to other third-party sites with a good, healthy backlink profile. They look at that for trusted information, but they also look at two additional factors that seems to be lost in today's SEO world, but I want to share them with you. Again, traffic is very huge. So in other words, if Google gets indicators that say, hey, you are a trusted source in this marketplace, you are the go-to, you are the authority in this industry, they expect some type of, in today's social environment, they expect some type of buzz around you that would create traffic and or social buzz. So when we put those two together, social buzz, of course, comes from the social media platforms, the conversation that's happening about you on sites like Facebook, Twitter, and many others. But then the other factor is traffic. The more traffic that you get, organically is best, but I found that they do give credit or accreditation from the traffic your site gets from their Google search paid platform, the pay-per-clicks. So one of the strategies that I encourage implementing with any SEO program is to add some type of a pay-per-click strategy onto there that will help drive traffic that shows that you are credible and that you are getting healthy traffic to your web platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's not just the buzz, but it's the branding. You get people seeing your ads with your name, and then when they scroll down a little bit further, hopefully they're going to see you again somewhere in the organic, and they're like, oh, I saw them before. Or even better, you have branding on social media by by doing like certain boosts, like Facebook boosts, remarketing. You can even remarket on YouTube in your local industry as well, which can be really powerful. So it's really about not just being seen, but it's about being seen multiple times. People don't just make a purchase the first time they see you. I mean, sometimes they do, but more likely they do the research, they think about it, they go back to it, and they think about it some more, they talk to their friends about it, and then they come back and then they buy. And so it's really important to have that branding going, to be known in your local industry as the leader of what you do, and get those reviews going. Because what's going to happen is it's just going to start snowballing, and eventually Google's going to start recognizing you as that authority. But that's not to say you shouldn't have other factors like really strong on-page SEO and really strong citations. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about citations is, there's a lot of data aggregators out there like Moz Local, there's Yext, there's a bunch of other softwares. I know one of the people I interviewed called Brandify. They have their own data aggregation system. So what my question is what do you think about these guys? Do you think we should be doing these things manually, or do you think it would be more worth our time to just fill out that form and have somebody else do it for us?
Chase, that's a very good question. When you see companies, you mentioned some of the players in the game, like Yext, for an example. What are they really selling? They are selling the cost of your time. I would talk to another SEO and I would ask the question, how much is your time worth to you? If I talk to a business owner considering to do that, I would ask, how much is your time worth to you? Because when it comes down to it, typically cost is not a factor. Most of these sites will allow you to publish free content on their site, but you have to have a list, and you go through that exercise of filling it out, getting it approved, getting it published, waiting for it to go live. So the question comes back, how much is your time worth for you? You know, tools like Yext is very important because of this one factor. As you know this, and you noted in your prologue to the question, is there's a lot of aggregator sites out there. So that means they're constantly publishing stuff on their own cycle. So one factor that has become a thorn in people's side, you might go through that exercise once, getting all your information updated and correct, but unfortunately, a third-party site might come with some old data or just incorrect data that they share among their network, and it republishes or overrides the content that you have published, and you're wrong again. So you have to go through the exercise of correcting. So I guess that's one of the benefits a company like Yext actually sells, is that once they get your data correct, they will continue to push it out and make sure that it's not overridden by any other source. So again, it goes back to the root of how much is your time worth for you? Do you really want to have a headache on tracking all that, or you want to just a one simple, affordable way to keep that covered? So the question comes down to, is $100 a month worth saving yourself that headache, whether you're an SEO or you're a small business company trying to do it yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and one of the things about Yext also is that's nice about them, and this is, I think, one of the reasons why they're probably the most expensive player in the data aggregation industry, is that when they push out the information, they have APIs connected to all these different indexing platforms, and they have the most out of anybody else. Moz only has like 10, and then other platforms I don't even know. I know Whitespark actually goes out and builds them manually for you, which is kind of nice. But the problem is like you were saying, is that it's hard to keep track of all these different citations that you're building, because you're probably going to be building them in a lot of different places. And Yext is nice because if you make a change, it'll push out that information to all of its different connected partners. Whereas if you were to do it in a different platform, it's either going to have to be manual, or you're going to have to only be able to change like 10 or 15 sources. So you do pay for what you get for, but it really comes down to, in my opinion, where are you ranking already? And I think a lot of the time people, sometimes overdo their SEO. They spend all this time doing too much on-page SEO because they're trying to rank on organic, when really they should only be focused on the map. So a good example of this is, I just started a tutorial series on YouTube about how I go out and rank sites super quickly in like under a month on Google. And basically, oh, by the way, the video that I have is #1 right now on YouTube for SEO, Local SEO 2016, which is pretty cool. But the thing that I see is that you can get a lot of traffic just by showing up in the 3-pack and having really strong ad with site link extensions and call out extensions, and having it all souped up, and have a really low organic position, and still do really well. And so so what I'm getting at is that I think when people go in and hire SEO agencies, they shouldn't be focused on the wrong things. What do you think?
You tapped into some really good stuff there. Is your efforts, focus your efforts in the right place, is what I'm hearing. And that's exactly right. You never want to duplicate effort, or you never want to put effort into something that's not going to bear any fruit. You mentioned having different extensions and things of that sort. You also mentioned earlier about the ability on a search engine result page. When someone does a Google search, the page that comes up, you want to show up multiple times on that real estate. So I think in your description, you gave a description of showing up in the sponsored areas or the paid section, showing up in the local 3PAP, the map area, showing up organically. And the more properties you can have showing up, you mentioned a moment ago your YouTube video that typically Google is showing into their search. So the more times you can show up, the better. For an example, Yelp properties, for an example. If I'm working on my citations and I have a Yelp page and I see in my number one keyword for local search, I see that Yelp holds a first page real estate. My first red flag I would say is okay, Google likes Yelp for this particular key term. So at that point, I would go into my Yelp page, the Yelp /.com, mybusiness.com or whatever the case, my page itself, and I would start to do SEO around my individual Yelp page as opposed to Yelp.com. When you click on it, it goes to the category. I want it to go to my business page when you click on it. So that would be a good effort to spend on optimizing your Yelp platform. So again, spending time and energy in the right place that's going to get you or yield you the best results is very important. I would add on to that.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah. I mean, and even Yelp alone, you can get, tons of really high quality traffic off of Yelp that, converts a lot better than in some cases, traffic that you would get off of Google. So why not spend a little bit of time looking into that as a possible channel for your online marketing efforts? And I feel like a lot of people, what happens is they find something that works and then they just start selling it. And the problem is that just because something works doesn't mean it's the best thing to do. And that's why, it's really good to have these talks like this, Brian, so that, you can ponder whether or not certain things that, that you're doing or that I'm doing are applicable to what's going on in 2016 or even, this month in October, because things change so fast all the time. So, I mean, that's, I don't want to keep people on this podcast too long because, you can only listen to so much while you're in the car. But what are some extra things you maybe want to tell some people who are looking to do local SEO?
Very good question. With the light, many people might know or it might be new to some ears. Google has a strategy or campaign that they're focused on. We call it in our industry POSSUM, a new Google update, which is really focused around local SEO. Specifically, some of the updates have been around, the local searches. If I'm looking for a hospital on my cell phone, and you may have already noticed when I just type in hospital, Google knows your location. So it will prompt you with a couple of ideas to try to better understand what you're looking for. It might say, if you're looking for a hospital near me, or you're looking for a hospital near me 24/7, closest to me, they are trying their best to get what we call local search in a point of time. What they come to realize is that most of their searches that they're doing in the local platform has all been done on mobile devices, all holding a GPS marker. So with that being said, that means Google has a heavy focus on making sure that their mobile users are taken care of and finding local content quick and easy, the closest to them. What does that mean to people that want to do local SEO? That means it puts more emphasis on the importance of making sure that your NAP information is up to date, your name, address, and phone number on your web pages, all of your citations. Make sure it has a consistency of that content on your web page. Make sure that it's updated in your schema code so the search engines can find it and identify it very quickly. I will also suggest that for businesses that have multiple locations in the area, I have a business in Dallas that has multiple locations for their restaurants in the Dallas location. It's important to not just group all of the addresses on one particular page, because again, every opportunity for you to confuse the search engines it probably will happen. So you want to separate any opportunity for confusion and dedicate a page for each individual address to make it very important that the search engines know this page is about this topic in this area. Increasingly important for local search, especially local mobile search.
And with different local schema markups per landing page as well, right, Brian?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. There was one thing I was going to say to your previous point, but I think it left me. Either way, Google is looking more into conversions these days, in my opinion. So, not only just having your NAP correct, making sure that your business is an actual business with people there, but also making sure that when people go to your site, that it's optimized. Google's looking at bounce rates. They're looking at click-throughs. They're looking at how happy people are with your site and whether they're actually going to be calling you or not. So, super important to focus on, what people are going to want when they click on your site.
Absolutely.
So yeah, thanks for coming on, Brian. If people want to stay updated with your information about all this stuff, where can they find you?
They can find me at E67 Agency on Twitter, or E67 Agency on Facebook, or directly on my website. We have a mailing list in which we put out quarterly newsletters with great content, just as what you provide, Chase. Things that will help the marketplace, small tips and tricks, things that people can do themselves.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Brian. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Chase. We appreciate you. Have a good day.
You do. All right.